I got it. It's on your page. Hold on.
All right.
We could take a moment. We could take a moment and do it.
So
What's up, everybody? So go to your page now. It should be up. And we're just gonna be sharing it.
it's on my page or on your page?
Your page should be on your page as well. I'm looking.
On my main page or on my artist page?
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. I'm updating it. All right, that's one. No, you might have to share it. It's not showing up on your page. Hold on one
So I
second.
need to go to your page.
Yeah. What's up, guys? We'll be right with you. Just making sure we are moving on all cylinders. It's that you're live now. JD, are you there? Oh, he's probably gonna have to go out and come back in. Just one moment, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We'll be right with you. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Had to make sure we were good.
I got this tune going in my head right now. That's all. That's all.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for logging in today, man. Just another provocative conversation. Definitely to my Christian community out there, and to those who are out here just living life. And today we're gonna touch a little bit on the pandemic again, and we're gonna talk about making plans. We're gonna talk about canceling plans. We're gonna talk a little bit about changes that are happening, and definitely to our singers and our artists out there. We're gonna touch a little bit on it with you too, and just what's happening around the world. And man, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat, throw them in the comment. Do me a favor today, just shout out where you are listening from. Shout out where you are listening from. What state, what city are you listening from? Let's go ahead and get that happening. Let's go ahead and get that working. We want to know where you are listening from. So go ahead, get those likes, and go ahead and share this conversation. Yeah, let's get there. All right, we got New Jersey in the building. Thanks, babe, for logging in. We got my residential co-host, Steph. What's up, Steph? Patterson, Aiken, South Carolina. my dad's hometown, my second home, Aiken, South Carolina, in the building. Yeah, let's go ahead. Shout out where you from. You're on the wrong side of this conversation, bruh. Percy said Tahiti.
Said what?
Tahiti. Go ahead and come on in on this side. Shout out to my hometown, Paterson, New Jersey, man. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. I have the person who, man, we have so many conversations in between this, and sometimes we take some conversations live. Today, we thought this would be another conversation where we would go live. You can catch us at least once or twice a month, going live, bringing in conversations. Yeah, bro, it's backwards. You gotta, so whatever side you're trying to fix, you gotta do it
I know, man. Trying to make sure that some trust in horses, some trust in chariots, but I put my trust in the Lord. Wait a minute, you gave shout outs to all this Jersey stuff. Shout out to Ohio.
Shout out to Ohio. I'm waiting for Ohio to respond.
Come on in, Ohio.
Make sure we see it.
Yeah, Ohio, Midwest, everybody. Come on, stand up. Come on.
All right. So today, we're gonna jump in and shout out to, again, everybody that's been following, everybody that's been watching. Greatly appreciate you. We have my brother, my partner, Jonathan Dunn, on today, and we were planning for this conference that was going to be absolutely amazing. We had some great speakers and psalmists, worship leaders, whatever you want to call them, artists, just great people. I just like to say great people, man. We had them all lined up, but had to make some changes to sound like a winter conference. Sponsored by my second church out in Cincinnati, FAI. And JD, man, share a little bit about that, man. Going through some changes, man.
All right. Well,
as
we were getting ready to do it. It was going to kick off next week. We had some heavy hitters, some major people coming in. You can see the flyer if you go on the page. You'll see the flyer. It's postponed. But talked with Jay a couple weeks ago. Just kind of coming home and looking at what's going on. It really sparked when I was looking at CBS News and I was looking at New York and Jersey and seeing coronavirus spiking and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, let me check what's going on in Ohio. And really, because I've been so numb to it all, really didn't see how bad it was, even this area. And even though there's a lot of conspiracy theories going on, I just did not want to put this conference in any nobody at risk, because we were going, as they predicted, from the red to the purple, which was like horrible. So I said, listen, I got to go ahead and shut this down. Don't want to bring people into a hot spot. So therefore had to make that tough decision. It was tough to make, but yet easy. It was easy because of safety, but it was tough because, man, don't want to postpone, but we have to. So we have not put out a new date yet, but we're putting out a date as soon as we can, because we just don't want to put anything out that's going to harm the people. So that's where we are with the conference. But everybody that's on the flyer have all said, whenever the new date is, we all going to be there. So it's still going to happen. So it's not canceled. It's just postponed because of COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you for being responsible, man. And I mean, what about, some people who have been making adjustments to their conferences, have been going virtual, but you wanted to just push everything back. For safety purposes.
Primarily, Jay, the conference was primarily a virtual experience, but just bringing the artist in.
Right.
And, whether we had anybody in the building, even though we had lots of people that were starting to register, We even had a couple people hit me back and said, I registered and I know it's going to be postponed, but I still want to sow my registration into you because you have the right heart. So that was a blessing as well. So some
Yeah.
people actually sold their registration still back into the ministry.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
yeah, so the whole situation was set for a virtual experience with a few people in the building. We have at our church, we've sectioned everything off. The church is safe, and we can only do 150 people in the building safely, practicing 6 feet apart, doing that whole thing. So we're in an incredible situation, but we just didn't want to. My focus wasn't so much the crowd. My focus was the artists that are
Right.
coming. I didn't want to bring them in to a hot spot.
Oh man, that's good stuff, man. Especially in this climate where, you know, a lot of people have said the country has chosen profit over people.
Yep.
So, you know, we really thank you and appreciate you for not choosing profit over people and deciding to, you know, use some caution and wisdom
Yeah.
and not jeopardize, you know, people's lives, man. So greatly appreciate you. And because I know it was a hard decision.
It was a hard decision, especially when, if you look at it, a lot of this hot spot is also in the battleground states. Come on, church. So you catch all that. My thing is, I just don't want to get caught up in none of that because I trust God, and that's about all. That's about all I'm gonna say. I don't trust all that stuff. So I think it was just good. And you know what, Jay? I'll even say this. Somebody asked me when I was in the valley of decision. Somebody asked me. They said, "Dunn, well, if God told you to do the conference, then you need to do it." And I paused, and I said, "God didn't tell me to do the conference." So sometimes we over spiritualize stuff. God ordained me to do stuff like this, but I didn't get
Yeah.
no dream. And God said, "My son, you must do the conference on November the 12th, the 15th." No, we can postpone it because I think it's a God ordained thing, but I don't think it's. See, sometimes we get too caught up into, well, if God said it, I ain't gonna let nothing stop me. No. And then we got all these crazy outbreaks and all this stuff. No, God did not wake me up in the morning and say, do sound like a winner. But God impressed upon my heart, do phenomenal things, and you have the authority to do it.
Yeah.
He said to Peter, whatsoever you loose on earth, whatever you bound up, I give you keys. If you got keys, you don't need permission. Come on, church.
Yeah. You got access. The keys gives
You
you
got
access.
access. You have authority. So
Absolutely.
God is with this conference, but it's not to the point where we had to put people in harm's way because we wanted to honor God's will.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good talk. Um, so bro, man, where do you want to start with this, man? Where do you want to start with?
You know what? I would want to start with this. I want to start with this whole concept of some of the points we're going to have with the sound like we're in a conference. Yeah. But I want to start with this, and that is we were all originally, in God's eyes, we were all originally supposed to be priests.
Okay.
God did not design it originally for it to be one regiment of people being
Right.
priests. Being, though a priest by definition is the ones that go to God for the people. We were all supposed to have access to go to God. That's why in the New Testament it says, ye are holy nation, chosen generation, peculiar people, royal priests.
Yeah.
So I think the reality is this whole worship leader, praise and worship leader, Levites, all this stuff within church culture, I think we really maybe not cover it today in totality, but I think we need to really tap dance on that a little bit because I think we have given a whole lot of people in a new generation the wrong perspective, and we have now diminished the criteria for actually being priestly or Levitical or leader.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
but why do you think the culture felt a need to give these titles?
I believe it's because we have been and we've become a performance driven culture. I'm talking about church culture.
Yeah.
And ever can do the best. I'm going to do good today. I ain't saying no names, but we can fill in the blanks on certain things that we've seen throughout these different decades of people that we know if it wasn't for their gifting and their ability to advance our propaganda, we would have never allowed them to bear the names, bear the titles, and have the platforms. So I think it's just been unfortunate that because we have driven our whole thing with those that perform. I will say this because it's been said on many platforms, and that is to the homosexual community that has been blackballed and banned by church culture, their rebuttal or their clapback is, but y'all have allowed us to sing, preach, direct, administrate, and do the things that's going to bring things in. So the ones that are profitable are the ones that are accepted. The ones that mess up our brand are the ones that are rejected. And it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. Now, I'm not going there to go into, I'm just making the point of that's the type of stuff that has happened. My brother, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother.
Yes,
You know you were on your way to Ohio. This was getting ready to be the most phenomenal clash of the ridiculous titans. It was going to be amazing, but it's still going to be.
It's still going to be. Yes, sir.
Oh my God, it's still going to be.
Yes, yeah,
man.
I'm still excited about it.
So hey, if Ohio's on here, I'm sorry, Jay. Ohio, if y'all on here, Midwest, if y'all on here, and whoever else, if you ain't heard of my brother Percy Robinson, listen, you need to do me a favor. First of all, you need to smack yourself. What have I been doing? You're missing out on the most incredible. When I say oil, Jay, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about oil. This brother has an oil leak. He does not know how to not have oil. It's a leak that can't get fixed. It's amazing.
I've been poured into by the best, aka Jay Dunn.
Hey, trust me, I poured it all out then. How was that? Reverend.
So Percy, what you just walked in on, we've talked, we were just opening up the dialogue, talking about how things have become performance driven. That many people have been given platforms because of their ability to produce profit, ability to draw crowds, and solely based off their gifting and talents.
Yeah.
And we were just saying or highlighting how, generally speaking, we were all created. And JD, correct me if I'm wrong, we were all created with being priest in mind, correct?
Yeah, it was God's desire when he created us for all of us to have access to him.
Right.
So we created over the time throughout Genesis, and then we get into the days of the Exodus with Moses and them. Now you start hearing about this whole concept of priest up under the office of Aaron. And if you notice there, Moses was really the one that was at the burning bush called a priest of God. But God didn't allow Moses nor his sons to be a part of the priesthood. It was his nephews and his brother. So you have the Aaronic priesthood, and then you have the Melchizedekian priesthood, which is Melchizedek, which was no beginning and no end. So with that, the whole Melchizedekian is we're blessing and we're leaving. We're blessing, showing up out of nowhere, and we're leaving. but the Aaronic is more office duty from the people to the people. There is a beginning and then there's a retirement. You start at 30, you retire at 60. My point is, it was God's desire for all of us to be on the mountaintop with him, like Moses, versus Moses on the top of the mountain and the rest of the people at the bottom of the mountain, frustrated with God's relationship with the priest at the top. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Levitical order coming out of Levi, all of that stuff. I think now as we matriculate all the way up into our culture through New Testament, we are confused. There's this ambiguous, you're a Levite, you're a worship leader, you're a priest, you are a prophet. We kind of just throw stuff on people because we need to give them that badge so that they can be that person for us. Wow. So it's like you're a worship leader, but if you have a really nice voice and then it gets a little raspy and then there's a little bit of a shaba on it, and then you say, I hear the Lord saying, now you're a prophet. Mm-hmm. Or if you quote a couple of scriptures, now you're a preacher. You see, we have to do this because we have created such a performance-driven culture within church that now every generation that comes up, including me, I testify to my church all the time. I am recovering from being a performer into being a pastor. Wow. And it's tough sometimes when you have to be more for the people than more for, you know how it is. You on the road, you got your iPad, you got all your tracks, you getting your honorarium, you getting your hotel, you get your flight ticket. It's about you. Yeah. But when you become pastor, it's really what about the people? And I'm not saying just as pastor, but just period. Your heart changes. So that's my whole spiel on the whole God desired for all of us. According to scripture, he said, ye are chosen generation. You're royal. You're holy. You're my peculiar called out people versus just a regiment of the nation, the Levites. All of God's people were in God's eyes intended to be able to have a connection with him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Percy, how do you, now this is good because you're in a place where you're stepping out in a sense from worship leading, where's my camera? Worship leading artistry, right? Which we know definitely has more of a performance influence, right? Even over the last year, as you've kind of been balancing both, what's been your regimen to maintain being about the people over performing for the people? What's been your regimen to maintain that sense of, you know, God, your will, God, what song do you want me to sing, and not just my single?
Yeah. You know, to be honest with you, I must give honor to where honor is due. I thank God that for many years I was under healthy teaching, where the bottom line was, you can't be self-reliant or you must be God-reliant. Once you get that out of your system, it doesn't really matter what stage, what platform, what corner, what lounge, what school. I'm saying all this for a reason, because once I identify who I am in him, my presentation is always about representing him. So if it's 2 people or 2,000, it's no longer just about a performance, but it's about representing him. That might mean my single or not. It might mean something as easy as, you know, I feel this in my spirit, and this might be the case where I'm singing something that has nothing to do with my brand, but it's because he wanted me to sing it. There's an assignment attached to what he's calling me to do. And you have to be disciplined enough to understand that and for you to go with that. I don't get it right every time, trust me. And I'm nowhere near the P in perfect. But what I'm realizing is that people need more than my gift. They need the gift giver.
Wow.
And if all we're doing is presenting who we are and where we've been and what we can do, you're only going to get this. But there'll be no change. There'll be no breakthrough. There'll be no uplifting of hearts. There'll be no. Once we put that aside and say, you know what, God, this is all for you. I'm a representation of you. One of the things that one of my mentors says, that you have to be okay with awkward moments. See, the immature looks at awkward moments as being they haven't come prepared. But the one that's waiting on God to say something, they're like, oh, he's actually getting a download. And I know that, I've seen Pastor Dunn in many occasions where he's just waited and sung a song that had nothing to do with his list. But that people don't look at it as that, because they look at our performances, this, that, and the third. But when it comes down to tapping into what God wants you to sing, we have the saying at my church is simplify your sound for his. Do you know how crazy that is? When you could sit down and have this whole agenda planned, you studied, you rehearsed, you worshiped, you prayed, and then God gets up there and you're singing, have thine no way, Lord, have thine no way.
That sounds like a pandemic.
You understand what I'm saying? It's becoming so, it's like, oh my God, everything has been interrupted. And because of the lack of relationship, everyone is going crazy. But when you're rooted and grounded in him, you're saying, even in the interruption, I'm going to look for you. Oh God, I felt them right there. Even in the interruption, I'm going to look for you. Last night, I did a recording at Excel in Church, and there was such a word of see it by faith. We can't just talk about it. We have to be about it. Even in the midst of a pandemic, we can see God in the midst of it. I have never sown as much as I've sown in this time.
Wow.
That's God.
Wow.
That's God.
Wow.
Listen, like Percy, that was great. That was great. JD, you want to jump in? You want to jump in? Because that interruption, this pandemic, and then you mentioned people's relationships with God being tested because of this interruption. And now this interruption is going longer than some thought it would be, right? Like some people thought like by August, by July, or July, August, or September, we'll be back, right? New season coming in. We'll be
Jay,
back.
they said by Easter Sunday. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
And so we're like prolonged in this pattern. And it's interesting because, some of the things already mentioned, I believe we're being challenged on. People legit are being challenged on whether they were actually performing for themselves or performing for God. What brought them their identity? Was it them really knowing God or them being on certain stages?
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
I think we brought up at the beginning of this, probably one of the biggest struggles were talking into a computer, but not really knowing who's listening, right? Versus the audience that you're used to. What happens when you're not getting an amen back?
Correct. It can be awkward. It can be strange because we've been so conditioned to be moved by the crowd. We've been so conditioned to say, yes, God is moving because people are saying yes and amen. But that's not the case.
Wait. What's the scripture, right? What's the scripture in the Old Testament where, they were looking for God in the thunder and the lightning?
Oh yeah,
but Eli, still small voice.
It was the still small voice, right? So like, is it the only way God can move is if the crowd is going in snotting and crying? But in this setting, like people are really, it's almost like people are walking and living in the dark. They're just trying to like feel their
the crowd and the snots and the cries and the yes is really self-gratification for people.
Yep.
That's a whole nother talk, because we will look at that as the glory is here. But the same presence that I feel when there's 1,000 is the same presence I can feel when it's me and him. And that's what we need to go after. We need to go after the same presence. It needs to be presence over performance, point blank, period. When you present his presence, nothing else matters. But that has to be a mindset. because some people don't want his presence. They want the performance.
Now, see, you know, y'all just tapped on some good. Oh my God, some good stuff. Because I believe that one of the problems is we expect God to move by moving stuff out the way. So the problem has been because God ain't moved Corona and COVID-19 out the way, we don't feel like God is moving. So now in our own epistemology, we have now said that the pandemic is God ordained because we have to always, through our dysfunction, we got to make a theology out of everything. COVID-19 is not from the enemy and it's not from God. It is a man-induced scenario that people are trying to say God is trying to get our attention. Well, explain to me how a lot of our bishops and our forefathers and a lot of our mothers that have been living safe and holy are dying from COVID-19. That means it can't be a plague, according to scripture, because the plague was they killed the Egyptians, but the Bible said he made a difference between the Egyptians and Hebrew. So every time you sing for that 1 year, this 1 year from let my people go to crossing the Red Sea, everything that happened to Israel, nothing happened. I mean, so everything happened to Egypt, nothing happened to Israel. They drunk, they ate, they lived through the plague or through the pandemic, and nobody got sick. Bible even said when they got out of Egypt, there was no sick among them.
That's the word.
So the reality is, when you look at where we are, I believe that for the church, aside of pandemic, we're in what I would call our own version of an intertestamental time, where it is, what is God saying? Because I ain't heard not one of our prophets get up and prophesy the pandemic being over, when it's going to end. They didn't prophesy what's going to happen. It's like, where are we at? Because I believe that we've been, as Percy said, we've been so performance driven that we've even birthed a generation like the people of children of Israel. They were born in the wilderness. So when Joshua took over, he said, I got to circumcise y'all now. But these men are grown. That's hurt. That's painful. Yeah. I think that's the thing that we're really, really challenged with. Is God talking? Yes, but it feels like it's intertestamental time where it's like in between these New Testaments.
Yeah.
Where is God? What is he saying? Where are the healings? What's going on? No, we're hearing more issues from the CDC, but where is God? And I believe that it is our job right now to really be able to be quiet. And like you said, Percy, go into places and not sing the song we plan to, because right now people need a word, a move of God in the pandemic. But it seems like God ain't moving to some people because some people are waiting on the pandemic to be over for us to now have another move. And it's hard. And I ain't gonna lie, as a pastor, we shut down the second Sunday of March when all this happened. We just opened back up the doors 2 weeks ago. And last Sunday, I had to close the doors again.
Wow.
And the whole church was looking at me like, wow. And they prayed. They said, Pastor, it must be tough for you. Because since March, I had to be in that building every week, look into this camera. Hey, praise the Lord, y'all. How y'all doing? Oh, come on, like, heart. Come on, let's give God some praise. I'm hoping that somebody is catching it. I've been singing my own material. Listen, y'all, I've been going through the catalog of Another Level and Fresh Anointing CDs just to have music content because I didn't want to bring the band and the singers in. Putting myself at a place since March. Do you know how Will Smith, I Am Legend, I have felt? I mean, I felt just stuck in that building. So I believe that's where we are. And I think we're at a place now where God is really, really birthing a new creative heart out of us to really reach him, to reach the people. We don't have, as you said, Percy, we don't have that gratification of the people amening us and saying, Doc, and you're doing good and all that stuff. This
is healthy, man. This is healthy because, you know, we're speaking to our reality. And what we can't do is mystify it, because we want to, make things, I guess, softer, try to make the blow softer than what it is, when reality is it's gut punch after gut punch after gut punch with a couple of hooks and other combinations that's all happening at the same time. And it's like, even if our arms are up, how much more can we defend, after each blow?
Yeah, yeah.
And we have to, really make sure that, we're in the right posture. So, man, this has really been good for us today. Jay, how do you want to swing into, the next phase of the conversation, man? Because,
well, I think the conversation can shift here, and I'll talk about money talks. I asked the question. I use the term church famous and gospel famous. And we have a lot of people that aspire to be famous, but their realm is in the church, their realm of in gospel.
Right.
And I was asking some questions to Jay and a couple of the artists I talked to earlier. I mean, how many moguls do we have in gospel music and in church? I'm not saying we don't have any. I was asking how many, because I was looking at the definition of a mogul. And then I was looking at how in hip hop, it started as music, then it was a movement, and then that movement turned to a brand, then it was business. And through controversy, it grew into, you can't even be a hip hop artist unless you end up within the next 2 years collaborating with another artist, be on a team, go platinum, and then go platinum again, and then start a business. You're talking about all these major hip hop artists that also are moguls. So when you come on over into the gospel realm, like, how many of us go platinum every year? How many of us go gold? How many of us go silver? How many of us go wood? I mean, it's like,
a bunch of people going wood.
I mean, and watch this. How many of us are afraid? Now I might get, well, I'm gonna get in trouble. How many of us are afraid to collaborate? Because if I collaborate on one song with Jay Moody and with Percy, if I collaborate with them, the question is, who's gonna be the famous one? Who going platinum? So I think the real question for the gospel industry and for church culture is, we're more concerned about who's next when we need to be more concerned about what's next. We don't have an agenda. And individualism has killed us. It has destroyed us. We don't partner, so we don't win.
Yeah. And that's been taught. That's been taught.
You said that's been taught?
That's been taught.
Wow.
By example. I mean, it's hard to say it, but
wow,
when you look at people before us, it was everyone is about their own brand at this point. Everyone is trying to build their own platform. Everyone is trying to create this, like you said, just it's no longer about the ministry at whole, but now it's Johnny Smith Ministries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not beating down on it. I'm just saying,
right.
This is what we see. And unfortunately, because of what we see, we're digesting that and it's becoming what we know. And it's people are just taking it and running with it. It is what it is. I mean, it's just, how do you detox from that? You have to figure out if this is something that you feel God has called you to do, or if this is something that this is what they did, but that's not the way I'm going to go. Because it's, it's like you get these people, you get a team, and then the team says you need to be your own brand, because if the church doesn't make it, you still stand on your own. You understand what I'm saying? This is what's being filtered in to these meetings behind closed doors. And yes, this is the church, but you need to do a book, and you need to have a series, you need to have a conference, you need to have this, and all that needs to come up under you so that you can create profit from this. This is being taught. This is what we're seeing. We
You
I
know
mean,
what's sad, Percy, is back in 2006, I think it was 05, 06, I did a live DVD recording, and I
Mhm.
had The Ensemble with Jason Claiborne. I
Mhm.
had Tanya Baker, Monte
Mhm.
Lacey, Marcus Cole, had a group called Call to Worship, with for five brothers out of Cincinnati. Of course, we had the band. Here's
Mhm.
my point. I was told by so many artists, Dunn, this is your first live DVD and you featuring all these people. That's not a good look, Dunn.
Mhm.
Like, this is your first live DVD recording and you featuring all these people. You got Marcus Cole, Tanya Baker. I mean, dude, and on, of course, the theme song was Rivers Flow. At the end, I passed the mic
Right.
and it smashed. Now watch this. I go do my first double disc CD. I feature Marcus Cole, Tanya Baker, Jason Nelson, list goes on the people of other producers. So now we get to this conference. Do you know in 2020, somebody had the nerve, the audacity to say to me, Dunn, it's your first conference as a pastor. And look at all those people on the flyer. Look at all the people on the flyer. I mean, you sure you want to do that? I mean, Dunn, this is your thing. And I'm like, wow.
Wow. That's the mindset.
Reverend, this is I'm telling you I'm telling you what God loves. My point is, this is the thing that kills us.
Yeah.
How anyway, I wanted to say that to add to your point, and that is
No.
because we don't have a team mentality, individualism has not only killed us, but it's also paralyzed us to the point where in 2020, we're not gonna say no names, but we all know the Grammy goes to. You see what I'm saying? Like every year, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Let's look at every other genre of music. They have so many generations of. Like right now, and unfortunately, a lot of our legends got to keep working to make money.
Correct. And I'm seeing it. And I'm seeing the cash up at the bottom of the screen. And I'm seeing all this stuff that it's becoming more and more about self-building than anything else, because that's all
Yep.
they've known. That's all they've known. It's
Yep.
it's unfortunate. I'm really it saddens me because I've been saying this for the longest. I don't ever want to be in that kind of system. And Jay knows. I don't want to be because it will disappoint you.
Buddy.
It will disappoint you. It will derail you because of what you thought something should be like. I just never. It's just unfortunate. It is unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. I hate to say it like that. No, because it's unfortunate. Yeah.
It is. Hey, let me say this. Let me say this because it's the truth. Let me say this. I think it's according to like Matthew. I think the book of Matthew. I think it's chapter 25. There's the story of the talents. It says a very powerful man, rich businessman, went to take a trip, but before he left, he took his goods and said, "Let me divvy it out to some partners."
Yeah.
He gave some. He gave 1 5, 1 2, 1 1. Y'all know the story. So the narrative is at the end of it, when he came back, he found out that the one that he gave 5 invested. He did business with people that he do business with, made him a profit. He said, cool, now I got you. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Same with the 2, same thing. The one with the 1, he buried, which was a typology of, I want to invest this into the ground. I want to put this into a safe place. I don't want to take a chance with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the businessman was actually given an opportunity to invest and do business with people that he does business with. So the joy of the Lord, if you read in the Message, it says, In the Message Bible, it says, "Well done, my business partner.
Hmm.
Come and do business with me now."
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
we got talents. The word talents, come on now, the word hence, talents. When you hear talents, we think performance. But in the Bible, talents is a business opportunity to invest in. And then we're talking about millions of dollars that this man invested.
Mm.
And the one, he was so mad at him because he was like, I gave you an opportunity to invest in people. We've been taught so wrong because God is not trusting us to advance any further than we can because we're not willing to make the risk in investing in Percy, investing in Jay, investing in Dunn, investing in so many. Y'all ain't got no money. I got favor.
Yeah.
Because people have invested in me. So I think when that scenario comes to my mind, I believe that God is putting it on our hearts to say, how can I invest? How can I push Percy to the point where everybody across the globe is singing, all glory goes to you? How can I, instead of it being, man, he did good in Jersey. No, Johannesburg, Germany. See what I'm saying? Global versus, okay, he won the Stellar Award. Okay, come on, man. No disrespect to the Stellars.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean. I think that
I
we
get what
have.
you're saying.
How can am I
Yeah.
willing to invest in Percy enough to say, listen, I got a shot.
Yeah.
So while I got my shot, how many people can I put on the stage before it breaks? I'll break the stage.
Wow.
And I don't want to mess up. I'm not gonna say no names, but there's a well-known artist who really made it humongous and big.
Mhm.
Not in gospel, made it real big. And he brought one of his family members on. And he had to let his family member go after a while. He set his family member up and had to let him go. Because you messing up, not only you messing up the opportunity I'm giving you, you messing up my brand.
Your brand,
So I
yeah.
believe the integrity of this partnership, vetting the process, making sure we understand who our Levites are,
Mhm.
making sure we understand who has the oil, because you understand every platform is not about the oil.
Yeah.
Some platforms is extremely 100% about the talent. Can you get up there and flat sing?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then after that, can you
Speaking about it.
leave and go to that conference and you ain't even got to sing all glory goes to you. Can just get up and say, ah, and that voice with Percy, you already know. It just, it's going to go. And this is not no compliment, Percy. It's
No,
a
I got
point.
you.
And that
No, I
is,
got you.
every time Percy opens up his mouth, for those that are watching that has heard him live, every time Percy opens up his mouth, if you didn't know him, you hear pain, you hear struggle, you hear challenges, you hear perseverance, you hear endurance, but then you hear this power, this success, this trust, this connection. It's like, what in the world? Like, I mean, for real, you hear it in the depth of his tone, which means he didn't just learn how to sing in front of a piano. He learned how to sing through life.
Through life.
And when that conveys, you can't put a price tag on that.
No.
No, that's good.
That's the truth.
That's good. That's good. I think we would get farther. Both.
Both.
Both. And also, right? I think we would do much better with some of those collaborations. And it takes a level of maturity. It takes a level of self-actualization, and right relationship with God. Right relationship with God. And when you, I think when you do that, you'll definitely see, some really strong and positive results. Even if there are, I guess, maybe difference of method or difference of style, like, and if we can, just overcome those small things, pride, ego, put some of those things to the side, we would really see some really dope, healthy collaborations, man. I would love a whole album with, like, the way Ted and Sherry did those. Like, we know that they were a group, a partner, or a BB and a CC, right? But what if just like, I don't know, a Dunn and Miranda Curtis whole joint, or a Sean Bigby and Miranda Curtis, or a Percy and just
Percy
like,
and Jonathan Dunn.
and Percy and Jonathan Dunn, right? Let's put this whole joint together. Let's do a whole collaboration, right? And
get the music done. Don't worry about marketing right now. Let's get the content done.
Yeah.
Once the content is done, now it's marketing heaven. Yeah. But I think getting the stuff done, like it's finished. That right there. Dr. Sapp, he recorded his last project in February, and he did, and we laugh about now, he finally did this song called Say Yeah. I wrote this 28 years ago. I would sing this song all the time. This song has been the theme song for so many Pentecostal Reformations, national conventions. I've been flown in. They had fatigues with black t-shirts on that say yeah. And if the Lord's been good to you, say yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've sang that song. I have, as an independent artist, recorded it twice, plus did it on live DVD featuring my brother. I have been blessed to make so much money off that song on honorariums and on 2 CDs and a DVD. Every time Marvin getting ready to record, he would be like, man, I want to do Say Yeah. Let's do it. And he never record. We always laugh. So finally, him and Aaron was like, we're going to do it. Now they flipped it. And they made it more of quartet, more Suge Avery, juke joint type vibe, which was killer. They was trying to find the right moment, the right time to do it, which was now. My point is, that song was written 28 years ago. And I've already, as an artist and as a writer, been blessed on recoup of the song. So now, whatever this record Sapp's record does, like, this is just now because something was finished. I tell folk all the time, had I flown back from Texas, leaning on the flight, hearing in my spirit, here I am. That's all I heard. Here I am. I was leaving Windsor Village. I'm like, here I am. By the time I got to my layover, it was like, here I am. I'm still standing. And I'm thinking, And usually every record, I try to put a song in E flat that I can sing on a Sunday morning. That's what I always try to do. So it's your time for your miracle, prayers of the righteous availeth much, all those different songs. So here I am. By the time I landed, I'm like, I'm still standing. I think that's the theme of the song. The next day, I'm at Cracker Barrel writing, wrote the song. That following week, I'm in the studio tracking it out myself on the Triton. It wasn't until maybe 3-4 months I called in the rest of the band to put it on the record. Now watch this. I finished the song, but I had to finish the whole CD to get the song out. So I finished the song, sent it out before I released the song. I sent it out. Melinda Sapp was like, this is my theme song, because she was overcoming cancer. This was 08, 09. My theme song done. She said, I know Marvin gonna want it, so whatever y'all do is fine. But that's my theme song. 2010 is Marvin's title cut for his record. As a matter of fact, Jay Moody is the one that called me, because I was actually coming in from preaching for Bishop Showell. And we were doing some negotiations about that song. And I didn't know how I was going to go. Jay Moody hit me and said, yo, Dunn, have you seen this? I'm like, what? He said, Marvin Sapp's new CD release, Here I Am. I'm like, what? So I looked at him, like, called Marvin. I'm like, yeah, man, they chose it as the title cut to follow up the success of Never Would Have Made It in whatever the song, Thirsty. My point is, if you don't finish There's nothing to market. So if me and Percy, me and Miranda, me and Jay just went on ahead and just went into the lab and just cut, we got it done. It's finished. I'm eating off of stuff that I wrote 20 years ago.
I love it.
I mean, and watch this. Here I Am is in Sony and it's in Sony and it's in Universal's catalog. So who knows what artist, new artist or old, what movie is going to be like, you know what? I need a song for this church saying. I need a song after the pandemic is over saying, here I am still standing. Who knows?
Wow.
I tell you what, let them come to me and say, Tyler Perry want to use Here I Am for something. Reverend. But I ain't got to go write the song. It's already done.
Already done.
Yeah.
All right. I done got excited because I think I done prophesied. Hallelujah.
That was good. That was good. It's already done. Yeah. Don't you got a song like that? It's already done?
Yeah. And next week, Percy Robinson and Miranda Curtis and Michael Lampkin and Hubbard was going to all tag on the end of that song.
Really?
Listen, you all. It's already done indeed. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. And the way I was going to lay out on the floor, all of them had their own separate safe mics. Like it ain't no pastor mic. Because everybody was going to have their own separate mic. Do you understand? The level of foolishness is going to take place next week. But 2021 is coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Man,
I'm sorry, y'all. I feel like
how do we? But I
y'all
mean, let's just taking that, man. How do we start that? How do we? I mean, I know we can say just do it, but with the platforms that we have, how do we just, I guess, make it happen, man?
First of all, I'm all in. I have my own perspective on things, but I really, really would love to hear, I would really love to hear the units, Lena Bird. I mean, just a list of, I would love to hear the units. I think the best thing is, and Percy, you can help me out with this. One thing that I have not liked within music industry is sometimes they put popular producers and the producer does not pull out the best thing for that artist.
Yeah.
I have a fan moment. This is a fan consumer. One of the best that I've heard this done with was the Worshiper album, Tommy Sims, Israel Houghton, and Aaron Lindsay with Darwin Hobbs.
Perfect.
Great.
1 through 9, there was no skipping.
Perfect. When I say perfect,
that was probably one of the very few times where I've seen, popular or trending producers come in and do something that fit that artist and extract everything that was in that artist. But
and that's why it's dangerous. You can't just come to Percy and say, I got a song for you. No. You have to sit with Percy for a minute and find out, what is his heart saying? What is his mind saying? What is his life saying? Like, there's different components. And when one person gets a version of Percy that they like, then they'll force Percy's gift into I need an artist for my production versus the artist needs production for his artistry.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the challenge.
Yeah, Percy, what was that like for you with making this song, man? I mean, I know, you had a unique situation
Yeah.
with how your producers were chosen, but All Glory Goes to You is a phenomenal song,
Okay.
phenomenal writing,
Mm.
just from front to end. The production, the quality, the singers that you had on it, the singing that you did, and you even stepped out of your comfort zone somewhat
I did.
to make that happen, man. So how was that for you?
Let's make a long story short. At the beginning, I thought that I needed to ask people that have written great songs to write my good songs.
mm,
And I got to
wait,
say
wait,
that
wait, 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 wait. Say that again, bro. Say that
I said,
we cannot skip that
I
part.
said, because of culture and because of the way we do things, I felt like I needed to then jump on the bandwagon of asking someone that wrote a good song, can they write me a good song? And
Wow.
that's only because of that was my lack of knowing who I am. That was the
Wow.
lack of believing what God placed in me. Because we need honesty. We got to be honest about things. And I didn't realize that what I needed was already inside of me. Because of the way culture makes you think that you need to go to someone that has made it, you pay that check and you have them write your song, but there's no relationship, there's no investment, there's no real heart. I'm going back to what Jay Dunn said, that this is alongside of it. You have to realize that what God has placed in you is enough. And what your prayer should be is that God, help me to connect with someone that can enhance what you already placed in me, not create something totally different than what you've given me. Because then that's a people without, I have no vision in me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So I
Yeah.
had to come to that realization that the people that I asked didn't have it for me. And I had to realize that maybe God does want to speak to me. And what happened was it was through my worship to him that produced the song. So what is that saying? What you have between you and him is enough. But
Wow.
you have to understand that.
Wow.
And I
That
did
is
not see
huge.
I didn't see the picture. I didn't see the whole picture. Somebody dumped 1,000 pieces of a puzzle on my table, and I had to make it work for the way the Lord showed me.
I don't
Woo!
you are enough. And I know sometimes with all of this self-help culture that people,
Mhm.
I don't think that should be overlooked,
Yeah.
that you are enough. And it's not, it's, listen, I don't care what type of sarcasm they may throw at, self-help. There are just certain statements that you have to come to the reality of.
Yeah.
If we're made in the image and likeness of God, 2 Peter 1, God has given us everything that we need pertaining to life and godliness, right?
Mhm.
That we may escape the
Mhm.
the corruption, the lust that lies right in the world. We have to make statements like "I am enough,"
Yeah.
not so much to make ourselves seem superior, but just know that when God created me, what He placed inside of me
Yeah.
is the ability to actually get done what He's given me the vision to do.
Absolutely.
And that moment right there, somebody needed to hear that today, because they're about to be like the woman with the issue of blood and spend their last dime
Hmm.
going to the expert or going to the success story already,
Yeah.
pay their way to the top, versus understanding it's in you. And the reason why they can hear your voice, Percy, and hear struggle and hear pain, but then also hear success, because this is coming from God
Yeah.
and
And
not
then,
the person you paid to write this song.
yeah. And that's
Woo!
the
I
truth.
am
That's the
enough.
truth of
I
the
am
matter.
enough. Wow,
And let me tell you,
that's huge.
and the reason why you can say that and you can, you know, we've looked at other people, we compare ourselves. Comparison is a joy robber. So when you compare yourself, it begins to take away the joy that you have on the inside, that is your strength. So it's like, oh, I don't do it like that one. Maybe I should pick up a guitar. Maybe I should wear a big hat. Maybe I should wear ripped jeans. Maybe because this is what we're seeing as successful. But then it's like, well, what did God tell me to do? What's my lane? And I think that's why it's so important that before you get on this stage, you have planned, you have prepared, you have prayed, so that performance is the last thing. I did not know that, Father, we come before your throne. I did not know all of that was going to be the way it is. But I pushed fear aside, and I said, let me just make this happen, because this is something that I wanted to bring to him. So what is my motive? My motive first was, God, I wanted to bring it to you first. And when we can say, this is what I want to offer him first, he then goes and he breathes on it. This is not about, because Jay, I don't have resumes of successful. So I can be honest, I don't have that. So all I can say is that, listen, people inbox me and say, what is your recipe? I gave it to him first. We give you honor, we give you praise, we give you glory, and we bless your name. All glory goes to you. I didn't know that was, it was a morning worship song that I thought I heard it somewhere else and had to get confirmation from Stefano. Did you hear this song anywhere else? He's like, no, I had to literally ask people, because I'm like, where did it come from? It came from my heart's cry to him. I gave it to him first.
That right there is amazing. Number one, for you to share on this platform, that you had to deal with the fact that you didn't know who you were. And then now this awareness of, hold on, I am somebody.
Yeah.
God taught you how to trust you.
Yeah.
Man, that's so good. Yeah. Because how many artists we know to this day right now have not gotten delivered from that identity crisis?
Yeah, it's a hard thing.
Listen, Shakila and I yesterday, we just watched Tamar Braxton on the Tamron Hall show. And she talked about how she worked to get the Braxtons on the reality show, but then also talked about at one point how the intention of what she thought and then what she was now being branded for or as, the personality, the won't he do it, the clap back,
right,
get your life, right? That whole thing created this phenomenon, right? And she had to now live this personality. She got caught in the river's flow of get your life, right? And it was pulling her away from who she was. So the news that came out about this suicide attempt was because of the duality of lives that she was struggling with. Because what was being branded was not who she was evolving to be.
Wow.
So Paul would say, there is a war in my members. So I'm not really feeling the get your life Tamar anymore, because I'm realizing I have real things going on at home that I need to deal with, that I need to manage, that I need to, pull away from the get your life and be who I really want to be. But the network is branding a whole nother situation that I got to try to live up to.
That's it. That's it.
And it's such a pressure. It's such a pressure that we struggle with. And again, we're looking at profit over the person or profit over people.
Yeah.
And see, Jay, if you don't mind, can I jump in? You mentioned Paul in this same scenario. Paul left that whole statement open-ended. He said, who can deliver me from this death? He left a statement open for us. Like, I looked to religion, I looked to the law, I couldn't find it. So I looked to the Lord, but he said, I'm still in search of this deliverance from this duality of nature within myself.
Yeah.
Then if you really study out Paul's life, theology or history says Paul was a cutter. The Apostle Paul would cut himself. Like we have cutters today.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. In that time, if you were cutting yourself, most believed you were trying to cut to release demons and release stuff. So when you go to Jesus, seeing the demoniac in the graveyard, he was cutting himself.
Wow.
Watch this. This man in the graveyard, he was bound up with fetters and chains. He would cut himself and run naked. But then he would break free and scare the people. And then they would bind him up. So here you are, strong enough to break free, but weak enough to keep getting bound up.
Wow.
Strong enough to break free,
Wow.
weak enough to keep getting bound up. Then when you see Jesus, instead of running and scaring Jesus or acting out, you run to Jesus. Now, if you look at the text, honestly, he runs to Jesus and he falls at Jesus' feet and starts worshiping.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesus picks up and says, all right, what's your name? According to the text, the man is in worship. He is bowing. He is totally, we give you honor. We give you glory. He's there. So who is Jesus talking to? The text says, Jesus says, who are you? He says, we are. We are. He says to the man, who are you? And the response is, we are many.
Many.
Which means the man wasn't talking. The other personalities and spirits and demons. And Jesus had a conversation with them. And all that happened was when that man got through worshiping, all of them, legion, were gone.
Mm.
So I think a worship song and or a worship experience is the foundation for identity crisis, deliverance, because the demons said, listen, do not expel us out of this region. This is our only place of influence. We can only terrorize here. Jesus said, well, you can't stay in this worshiper. So they said, put us in the swine. We need, watch this, we need something that's living so we can kill it.
Oof.
So the intentions of the demons were to kill the worshiper. But the worshiper stayed alive because he faced his identity crisis by running to Jesus, falling at his feet. Jesus talked to all the ones that gave him the identity crisis. And then they spoke for him one last time. We are many. Got him out of there. If you notice, they ran and they drowned the pigs, but they stayed in the region.
Yeah.
But the man, as the Bible says, he was clothed. We always say in church, clothed in the right mind. No, he was clothed, which means he had on clothes, and he was in his right mind.
Wow.
So I think the reality of what you said, Percy, is so powerful. How many days have Dunn and Jay Moody and Percy got up in pulpits and sang and preached and not knowing who we are? I did the whole identity conference at my church, and the third year I did it, God said, don't you spend another day being hypocritical to the people. Tell them the truth. And I told them, y'all, as your pastor, as this artist and this evangelist, I am just now going through the process of knowing who I am. Because anytime somebody asks me, hey, Dunn, how you doing? I would tell them what I'm doing. I just flew in from such and such. I'm doing this, doing that. I would never talk about who I was. But you know what? In 2014, 15, I had to come to the grips that I didn't like me.
Yeah.
I liked the version that the people liked, but I didn't like me. That's in 2015, y'all. That's after Here I Am and after Rivers Flow, and that's after Order of the Lord and Be Exalted. I had to come to grips. That's why I'm so glad, Percy, because you just helped me with another step of my deliverance of identity crisis. Because sometimes people think you know who you are. because you do a good job at presenting who you've been.
Right.
But the question is, do you, man, that was so good. It just hit me so
But
hard.
I think that part there is what contributes to people leaving and then feeling empty. I mean, performing and then feeling empty afterwards.
Yeah.
And I don't mean empty because you've ministered out, empty because, yo, nigga, I mean, yo, you know that ain't you.
Come on, Jay. Say it, Reverend.
You know that ain't you. You know that ain't what, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, you know, and the personality is fed, but the person is starving.
Wow.
But Percy said it. Percy said, as long as we're getting this, we feel so okay. But after a while, when you get home and all, it's like, man, you can't even really grab onto. It's like all of the hype is fleeting as soon as you leave. By the time I done left the pulpit in Jersey and I done got over the hops and I'm about to eat that food, all the applause is fleeting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bishop Dale Bonner says that to have public success and private failure is failing. That's point blank there. Because at the end of the day, the public success, it dwindles so quick that your private failing is going to outweigh the public success. Because when you're failing at something privately, it's so heavy and so concentrated. I'll never forget, I went to counseling years ago because I believe in counseling. And my counselor said to me, I want you to write down 5 things you think about every day. I wrote down lack of money, pain in my body, stress in my family, not happy about my job, and I love the Lord. Just say that was it. He said, you gave me 4 negative things that you've been thinking about. You're on the verge of depression.
Woo! Whoa!
I was like, what are you talking about? He said, you're on the majority of what you think about every day is negative. It's dark, it's negative. And I'm saying, no, I'm a child of God. I'm more than a conqueror. But it makes you understand. Like, I'm like, whoa. So as a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
Wow.
So it's like, we have to really, it's so much, it's just so much more than just this byproduct of me getting up on the stage and for 20 minutes, I'm singing unto the Lord and people are worshiping. And then I go back home and sit in a dark room because that's all I am. I'm just a byproduct, but who am I to the core? Can I sit in a room and just sit and talk to the Lord and be okay with that? Can I be okay with all 5 of my engagements being canceled? Seriously, because and this is what I think, and I think that God will allow things he'll use anything that we're in now to really have us to take this time and do self-reflection and say, wait a minute. What is my real why?
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I can, but what is my real why? My real why might be I don't get any affirmation from anywhere else, and this is the only place that people love me. So this is why I keep singing every week. My real why might be I just don't feel loved anywhere else. But when the lights come on, I hit a few good notes, and and the people
That's
love me.
honest. That's honest.
This is the honest truth.
We need people to give that answer if that's it.
If that's it.
Jay,
if that's it,
Jay.
we need people to give that answer. We can't trip on, criticism is going to come anyway. But if you say that and that's how you really feel.
But Jay, we don't make it safe enough for people to really say that. So let's be honest about that part. We don't make it safe enough because people in leadership, and they only want you to do what they want you to do.
That's it.
They only want you to do what they pay you to do. They only want you to do what they know you can do without the assistance on how can we make you a better you. That's not the emphasis. That's not the focus. When if they really understand that making a better you will make you a better servant. But that's investment. That's wanting someone's heart. That's wanting them to not repeat but evolve. That takes intentionality. That takes intentionality.
Oh,
That's like me having weight loss surgery in 2016, and one of my boys say, "Bro, I see you picking up some pounds. Don't go backwards." That's real relationship. Not, bro. No matter how big you get, you got the beard. Nope. That's fake.
That's fake.
No, Percy. What are we gonna do so that you don't have to repeat that cycle? Yes, the song is dope and you're doing a great job, but what are we going to do that your life can be maintained and your life can stay healthy and your life can be able to be effective? What do we got? That's real. That's what it's really about. And we don't have that because most people are trying to build platforms for themselves. So all they're thinking about is let's get the people that do it the best so that they can keep doing it, so that my name can get great, so that the numbers can go great, so that the views can go great, and forget about the people. I've been this for years and was sick and was hurting. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered. As long as I can get the people. And this is the society that we live in. This is the society we live in.
Hey, Dream Girls got a song that goes with that. It's heavy.
Buddy, that's heavy.
That was heavy.
That's heavy.
That was heavy.
That Percy, when I say that right there, that level of revelation, honesty, and transparency, that right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's freed me.
It is wow.
It is freed me.
That is, I remember it had to be now probably about 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do John Hanna's anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
church anniversary.
Right.
And they did one service at this place that seats like 10,000 people. So I flew in. I've been knowing John for a while. I flew in. I get there Saturday night. They say, okay, done. Be ready to lobby at 6:30 a.m. I'm like, 6:30 a.m. For what? Done. Just be ready. I got there. They setting up like it's the BET Awards. It's humongous. Anyway, I'm the featured artist for that service. I got up and I sang, Lord, I love you. Lord, I praise you. And 10,000 people took that song from me. Lord, I lift your name. And I'm sitting there like on the stage. At this point, all of my all that out the window. Because I'm like, they don't want to hear that. They don't need that. Product was sold already before the service ended. Here's my point. I left there going back to doing Thursday night services in Cincinnati, Ohio with about 45, 50 people. And I had a battle because I said to God, I'm leaving stages like this to go and do what?
Wow.
He said, that's what you can do, but this is who you are. Messed me up because I had to now start walking out this deliverance of done. How much of the people have built up who you are to the point where you can't walk in your destiny.
Wow.
That was a real moment for me. It was like a real moment. So to hear you say these things, Percy, it is so true. Them stages, these people, the whole nine, it can really cause us, if we're not careful, to walk in such a bondage. And like you said, they really want to manufacture out of us the things that they need to build their brand. And we could be hurting, struggling on our deathbed.
Yeah.
Can you sing that note? I'm sitting up here, can barely move. Can you sing a little bit of that piece that keep my mind? It's like, no. So I think this is, Jay, I know our time is up, Jay, but I do want to say this. I just believe that whatever we're going to do in this next season, my heart is, I'm not concerned about who's next. I'm concerned about what's next. The Bible says David was a man after God's own heart. Their word heart in Hebrew means agenda. David was a man after God's agenda.
That's good.
His heart was toward God. So not what is my plan for the next move? What is the agenda of God? And how do we fit in that? And I think once we do that and align with that, I think, success is an understatement. I think we'll see some phenomenal things take place. So that's my take on it. This is amazing.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, Jay. I know we want to be stickler on. I'm good
with it because it's healthy, and I don't think anything like this can be minimized to, something, short. Like if we needed the extended time just to make sure we elaborated, to make sure we were clear. I'm not guided by CBS or ABC's programming, and if people are tired, they can just shut it off and then come back later, right? So, but honestly, I don't want to hold up the time. Yeah, that last part was just so healthy, man, so good, so transparent, and definitely another life transforming conversation today that will help us create more conversations, do more assessments during this pandemic. We don't know how long we're going to be in this. Someone mentioned second wave, and then Dr. Fauci comes back and we're still in the first wave, so I'm like, yo, man, all right, God, my focus is on you.
Bishop, what's his name, Prophet Bernard Jordan, he prophesied about this second wave a few weeks ago or a month ago, something like that.
Really?
He did speak on it. Yeah, he said it is a second wave, unfortunately, but he was like, once we get out of this, then we'll be fine. But there was going to be a second wave. So there has been some prophetic utterance about it in the last couple of months or a couple of weeks or something like that. And so it is what it is. But we still don't stop doing what we've been called to do. We just
absolutely,
like my pastor says, we don't make excuses, we make adjustments, and that's what it's about. We just adjust, and we do all we can, and believe that God will breathe on what we do, and then He'll do the rest.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Sure. Yeah. JD, last words, man.
All right, my last words are: I think that you all, for real, that are watching this, I think you all really need to not just. Well, first of all, you need to go and support Percy Robinson's song. For real, I'm saying this as a setup for something else, and it is. But I need you all to really take hold to what he said, because I think there was a and I'm not about to make it churchy, but I believe that there was a mantle resting on him as he was talking, because I believe you've sat on so many platforms and you've been in so many environments where you've been trusted by God to hear so much.
Yeah.
You've seen so much, and I think God has now trusted you to be, I would say, like David. He went down serving, and he ended up killing Goliath, which was Israel's biggest threat at that time. But he was the only one that wasn't enlisted in the army.
Right.
And but he was the only one willing to fight because he knew how. And I think everything that you've been able to accomplish in those seasons where people didn't see you winning,
right?
Like you won in private.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think the platform, not so much industry, but the platform is going to be shifted so where it's going to be like, we need somebody to kill this. And it's not going to be individualism now, because people are going to say, we don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And every break, moment, distraction, disappointment, failure, struggle, challenge that you've had within the industry, I believe it has positioned you to be the one to be like, oh, I can do this with no problem. It's like, what? I do this in the car.
Yeah.
I do this on the way to either work or to church. So
Right.
I think that's what I'm saying. I believe that this is a powerful moment. And for those that have been watching this, I'm quite sure they're actually testifying to this. That was some powerful stuff you said. So not only the voice of the singer, but the voice, I'm not going to say the prophet, the voice of authority that you spoke with today. I think there was a lot of clarity in that, man. So y'all do me a favor. My parting words, and I'm getting ready to go to Cracker Barrel and get me a salad.
Yes, sir.
Y'all go and support everything Percy Robinson. I'm talking about his CD, t-shirts, hats, masks, whatever he got. I mean, just go and purchase, go follow, because I think this right here was a major moment.
Yeah.
Major moment. And Jay, if you don't mind, if you can take some sound bites, send them to me. I'm gonna post them on my page. I think there was some gold nugget statements made today.
Absolutely.
So love y'all, bro. Love y'all.
Love you too, brother.
Yo, man, love you too, man. Everybody, thank you guys for joining in. Have an
Yes, sir.
outstanding second half of the day.
Peace.